Hi traders, it's E from MarketWizards.com and EminiWizard.com, inviting traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. A reminder, on our blog page, anyone who would like to be notified when we run our next training program, just give us a holler, submit your name and email, let us know you're interested so we can pick up the next course. We won't do it until we get enough traders that it makes sense to run the program. All right, here's a look at angels and demons. And you'll note that one of the twists we add to Kevin Haggerty's signal trading uh, process is we try to put the middle between the angels and demons. I find that's very significant. So I've added that to his original work. And what we do is once we find an angel that sets, we look for it to hold. And the goal, of course, to get halfway back and test previous areas of resistance, support originally that have turned into resistance. And obviously the full trade would be to come across and try to get back and test the demon that's started in this process. And of course, we can do the same thing with the overnight range. So that's first is obviously busting the RTH range before you can even think about getting up and testing higher areas like the middle from the overnight range. So first things first, and I think this is a significant area that needs to be retested, that breakdown. And don't forget this, so overnight low, typically if we break that, first things first, you got to come back and retest that zone before you can get any higher. So this is a significant test right now during lunch. Had a little double bottom set. We had thought today if we could get down to that 32 to 25 zone, that would probably be good fortune, and below that would be an extended move. We'll take a look at that idea in just a sec. But for now, we're bouncing, and anybody's guess how far we will go. Also looking at a 30-minute Globex chart, and we can see how that has rotated over and under. Last night's rotation came back to the rain line, followed downward, and got back into a push up at the open right into the second line coming down, and we're still overdone. We still, this blue line is our slope line. So we know we've come a long way already. And my guess is that we're going to do a little sideways action for a while. And anybody long side, got to make sure you're paid by that 47, 48. And if you're lucky, maybe get the 52. Probably hard to get much above that right now, just the way I'm looking at it. Here's a weekly look, and you'll note still an inside week. We felt as we got down to this 22 or so, getting close to that 11 from last week. That's our support low, obviously, until broken. And we felt odds would change as we got down here under the 32s to 22s. We felt that was the core range to make sure you're paid and then expect a bounce. So far, that's proven to be true. We note yesterday we had the same idea at the top with that we needed to use the prior week's high as our resistance. We threw a couple of points up there on top and said, all right, let's use 92 as our resistance. That's paid off in spades for anybody that's taken especially a swing trade and held on to it overnight. We've come through most of the range already, and it's still an inside week. So I wouldn't get too aggressive on the short side at this level. We certainly need a contra and we need some profit taking, and that's part of the business. Real key today, I thought, was could we break down these lows right in here in that 52 area, 52 to 48, say, and if we got through that, then the door opened to come back down into this lower box. And here's a monthly look. Obviously, we are in a significant box. Once we broke the 70 zone and got under and stayed under, and we looked at this 2712, 2711 area as being a very important support, obviously, for now. If that breaks, then we open the door to come backwards step by step, and we do try to be consistent with the way we analyze these markets. And here's that 4-year chart that I'd posted earlier. Shows the low um, from the time that Trump was nominated and became our president, and subsequent rotations, and then this plunge that we've got this year, still respecting that low for now. And we can see where we held. The first box was supportive. We bounced 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. That's a pretty substantial box move, 4 boxes. So at this point, we need to think, okay, this 12 is a very important area, and going forward, I'm going to keep my eye on that. And then obviously this next rotation, if we get below that, based on this chart, then we're going to be looking back in here. So this is the step-by-step approach, and we can do that either in small increments or large, but it's still going to be the same process. Switching over to today's intraday chart, we can see that we've had 2-box bounce, stalled nicely right here at 46 to 47. This caught my eye when I was looking at charts, so I thought we should be paid by that if you're taking a bounce. And obviously the next level of resistance would be back here at that 61 area. And we can see the symmetry move back here from that 75, 78 area. And that currently is obviously our resistance until broken. And in our OTF chart, we were off the charts on the daily, so we revert to the OTF levels to see the bigger picture. And obviously we can see where we had resistance. We call this 91. We said, let's call it 92 resistance. And then retest failure. We took out the low, came down overnight. You could see why we thought this was a pretty important area this morning to get paid for sure. Short. We had the bounce, but it was contained by this big pivot, 28.12.5 system pivot. And then once we take this level out, then we open the door to the next level. And you can see where this 34, right where we are now, where this is a pretty important level based on the overall bigger picture. And we'll do this step by step. So for now, this is our resistance back here. For the rest of the day, I'm not seeing this break unless we have substantial news. And this is day 2 of a sell. This was the options X nonsense. And then we had said, be careful, because we thought this was just a game and we should get a pullback this week. And sure enough, we started that yesterday, and here's day 2. All right, in the last couple of charts, this is obviously a much bigger picture look. We had this significant breakdown right here. Right, this double broke, got just above it. That's typically what happens. You'll get above it, and then it sold off. And this was way oversold. Got a great bounce coming back up. And normally it will, on a bounce like this, it will attempt to shake out all of these traders. The market does not want these traders to maintain position. So on the bounce, you always look to see this come above those highs. This is the shake part. Get above it. And now Charlie says, let's buy. We're above it. We're going. And that's where Charlie gets caught typically. So I was taught to look above these highs, even if it only breaks it by a tick, but I like to see it broken, depending on the frame, reasonably. And certainly 10, 15 points is nothing in this environment to break that and then resume the downtrend. So now we've got to obviously look for the next support levels in here, in here, in here. All of these are supports that need to be broken again before we can even think about coming back down and testing lows. Now let's take a look at one last chart. Same concept. But a 2-minute variety. And we can see where we bounced, found resistance at the yellow line, made a beeline down, then sideways, and then the lunch bounce, which has happened. So good possibility. We've got some chop this afternoon. But you can calibrate these, and we try to set these based on the current volatility, and we'll adjust these so that we'll touch at least a couple of bands and then leave them set for a few days until we need to readjust them. Just one more tool in our arsenal. And I do agree with it, my friend Anthony, that execution is everything. But before you execute, you really do need to have an understanding of what the market is doing and then try to fine tune your entries and exits. Without a plan, without a system, without understanding, you have no chance in this business, none whatsoever. And just because you have the understanding doesn't mean you can execute. You need both. Both elements to be a good trader. It's like some going in the stands and watching somebody play basketball or baseball or whatever, and you can analyze the swing all you want. Say, boy, I could do that, but until you stand up there in a batter's box against a guy like Nolan Ryan, you have no idea. So start small, start with your simulator, start with small accounts and show yourself you can handle the stress of it and then move on to bigger and better things. So many ways to trade the markets. No one way is right for everyone. All right, this is signing off. Hope you have a good day. And if we can do anything to help you, let us know.